Dominic, who do you think the father of Lady Ella's child is?
Lady Jane, I don't think this is an appropriate discussion to have. No, I'm above idle gossip.
Okay, but who do you think it is?
Oh, my bet's totally on Lord Arthur.
Lord Arthur, but he's married.
Jane, do you think that stops them? Who do you think it is, Jane?
The king.
No. My cousin's too much of a goody-goody. Could be your father.
My father? How dare you say that, Dominic?
Well, you do know he did have a scandal before.
I know he likes younger women, but Ella is just not his type. The girl
What
that would
is
go
his
for.
type, Jane?
Well, he likes ladies with brown hair, from what I've noticed.
Well, I like ladies with red hair, so what does that matter?
I didn't know you liked ladies with red hair.
Well, I mean, it's just a preference, you know.
You remember, it was a while ago, but you told me that you saw Lady Ella walking around the castle in a sheet.
Oh, don't be repeating that, Jane.
She could have
I'm
been
gonna be
going to visit
accused
the
of
king.
I doubt she was going to the king. Let's see, where was it? What corridor did I see her coming down? It was kind of the direction going to, toward Lady Margaret's.
Lady Margaret's corridor is on the hallway beside the king's corridor.
Jane, what are you doing here in this corridor, dark corridor, all alone with Lord Dominic?
Father, Lord Dominic and I were just talking. Father, I actually had to ask you something. I'm just going to be quite straight with you. Do you know who the father of Lady Ella's child is?
Jane, I'm not going to gossip about some court lady. I'm the king's advisor. I am above such things, Jane. I have no idea. Oh, my. I didn't know there was a party going on down here in this corridor. Lady Jane, I didn't know you were friends with Lord Dominic.
Well, I am Lady Margaret.
Why, if your father wasn't here chaperoning, there might be some gossip about you and hanging out in this hallway with this young, handsome man.
We're just friends and we're just talking, Lady Margaret.
About what? Must be interesting. Well, I'm going to leave now. I've got important responsibilities with the king, as always. Of course you do, John. Goodbye. Now, what were you really talking about out here?
Maybe you could actually help us, Lady Margaret. Maybe you might know something.
Oh, I know everything, child.
Who is the father of Lady Ella's child? She is unwed? Who is it?
Dear Jane, I don't bother with such trivial matters as that. I thought you really wanted to know something important. You young folks with all your gossip. Good day, Lord Dominic. Good day, Lady Jane.
Good day, Lady Margaret.
Oh, she definitely knows.
Oh, of course. Come on, let's go.
Well, dear child, I'll have you know they're already gossiping about you. Gossip has reached Lady Jane and Lord Dominic's ears. They're trying to figure out who the father is.
If they know, then everyone knows.
Your only hope is for it to be a boy and the king claim it. Otherwise, if it's a girl and he doesn't, I'm afraid you're just completely ruined.
Well, if it is a boy, I believe that I will be on the top of this court, and I will stay on the top of this court for the rest of my life.
That's why we had best hope.
And I'm not worried about gossip. I've been the subject of gossip since I started showing my condition.
Dear, I think they know that it's got to be it's probably the king. Otherwise, they would have married you off to someone. You have no other suitor around. Oh, I did not realize she was here. I'll come back later. I'm so glad that witch is gone. But she was right about one thing.
You were listening, Mother?
I'm always listening, dear. God, got to be a boy. Our whole future of our family's reputation is at stake.
Mother, listen, let's look on the bright side. If it is a boy.
Do you know the nasty looks I'm getting? Oh, they think my daughter's a trollop.
I may be considered a trollop, but I am the king's trollop. Mother, if this is a boy, do you realize how much my status will grow? Why, I might even be given the title of a duchess.
This is the only reason I'm not completely scandalized. A duchess would bring our family name, raise us up higher.
Yes, Mother, you're married to a viscount. That is a small and meager holding. I'm not trying to be mean or rude or anything, but it is, Mother.
Well, my whole goal was to find you a good match, and Lady Margaret is supposed to help with that, but I guess she did in her own way, but this is not what I had in mind.
It's the king's hunting dogs! He's back! Oh, your majesty. Oh, Ella, come on. Let's go talk in my throne room. Come on, John.
Your Majesty,
Sit down, dear. I don't want you to get all flustered.
Your Majesty, your attention seems to be given otherwise. I'll return when you're alone.
It'll only be a minute, John. How was my son today? He is wonderful. He sure is strong. Now get some rest. I want my son to be healthy. All right. Lord John,
Your Majesty.
if you see the king, please tell him to come see me. I haven't seen him since he got home from his hunt.
Yes, Your Majesty. That hunt was very long. I'm sure he's very tired and had to change out of his hunting clothes.
And when you see him, tell him that I would like to speak to him about Lady Ella.
Lady Ella, Your Majesty. Why would you want to talk to the king about Lady Ella?
Well, Lady Ella's condition. I need to talk to him. He might know who the father is.
I doubt the king involves himself in such matters, Your Majesty.
I know, but...
As a gossip, who the father of Lady Ella's child is really, I don't think it's any of anyone's business.
Even though, please tell him to come see me.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Enter.
Your Majesty.
John, now, what is it you need to talk to me about earlier?
Well, there's even been more developments, Your Majesty. You didn't bother to go see the Queen when you got home from the hunt.
Oh, the Queen. I forgot. Well,
Your Majesty, how do you forget to see your wife? She was very upset about this.
She may be my wife in name, but she is not my wife in my heart.
Your Majesty, your heart does not matter in this situation. What matters is the law, the eyes of the church, everything. She's your wife.
She may be my wife, and I am gracious enough to allow her to be queen, not try to get a divorce like my brother Edward.
Your Majesty, please do not even entertain such notions. Do you know how badly that ended up for Edward? Please do not make the same mistakes.
I never said I was, John.
Your Majesty, what do you hope to gain by this dalliance with Lady Ella? It can go nowhere, Your Majesty.
I hope to gain a son, John.
Your Majesty, an illegitimate son is not going to do you any good as far as the throne. You have daughters to take it.
Yes, John, but...
Legitimate daughters, Your Majesty.
I want a son.
Your Majesty, this child will not be illegitimate.
John, I can put my children in line however I like. I am the king.
Your Majesty, no, do not create this kind of crisis. I really cannot deal with this. No, Your Majesty, do not go down this road. Your Majesty, you would have to fight the church, the Pope. The Queen is very beloved by the people. The people would not accept you putting aside the Queen, and the nobles, there's many nobles who would take your side, Your Majesty. This is foolish. You cannot put an illegitimate son above your legitimate daughters. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. And my job as advisor is to advise you, and this is the advice I'm giving you. Your Majesty, there's also no guarantee that this will be a son.
We shall see, John. But also, I would like a son. As you know, my oldest son died very, very tragically.
have a son with the queen.
Maybe you do not know this, but I have been told by Lady Margaret and all the other ladies in this court that the queen can have no more children.
I have not heard this, your majesty.
Exactly. John, as long as I allowed her to stay as queen, there will not be an uprising. It's not like I'm going to get an executioner to slice off her head with an axe.
I would hope not, your majesty. Your majesty, the queen is already suspicious of you and Lady Ella. You do realize how angry she's going to be. Your majesty...
Then let her be angry, John. Let her be angry. She will get over it soon enough. John, I think that every single noble in this court would agree, besides you, that they would rather have a male on the throne than a girl.
Your majesty, they're not your advisors. The reason I'm your advisor is because I know what will happen if you make
If a woman is on the throne, John,
your majesty.
the throne becomes unstable, and my line will end. Someone will overthrow it.
The throne's unstable now, your majesty, because of your actions.
Why do you think you have a right to speak to me like this, John? I could strip all your titles and you could not be my advisor anymore.
It's my job, your majesty, is to tell you the truth when no one else will. That's what the rest of this court is, your majesty. They just sit around and flatter you and tell you lies, but I am the one that tells you the truth, your majesty.
I'm sorry, your majesty, but I couldn't help but overhearing.
Lord Bedford, don't you knock?
I am an advisor too, John. And this seems to be a meeting of the advisors. I called you both. Did Lord John not call for you to come, Lord Bedford? No, he did not.
Forgive me, your majesty. I've been the advisor for so many years all alone that I forgot.
Now,
I
Lord
needed
John,
someone's assistance, your majesty.
please let Lord Bedford speak. Your majesty, I believe that you are right. This country will benefit more greatly from a male being on this throne than a female, regardless of whether he's illegitimate. What Lord John is not thinking of, your majesty, is the future of this kingdom.
I'm always thinking about the future of this kingdom.
No,
Lord
you
Bedford.
are not.
I think I'm the only one who thinks about it sometimes.
Think about this, your majesty. If one of your daughters gets the throne, even if they do have good ideas, and even if they are a good ruler, there will be
Your
uprising.
majesty, your daughters are fully capable.
John, my oldest daughter is 5 years old.
And
There is no telling what kind of ruler she will be.
And will have plenty of time to be trained to take up that throne.
Your majesty, even if your daughter was a great ruler, other members of the family would try to put their male heirs on the throne, and they might even have a claim to it because she is a girl. And if she does get married and have children, odds are she will die in childbirth, your majesty.
Not
And
everyone
the heir
dies in
will die
childbirth.
too.
But you can't know that, Lord Bedford. Anything, his son could fall off his horse and die.
This is not a laughing matter, John. My
not.
first wife died in childbirth. Exactly, your majesty.
And your son died of a sickness. Can happen, anything can happen in life, your majesty. Both of your daughters are very healthy children.
What's to say that my child with Lady Ella, if it's a boy, which it will be, I know this, John.
Your majesty, you cannot know that. You know, your majesty, I've told you that I don't have any other interest. Other people will advise you according to their interest. Do you know who Lord Bedford's? So of course Lord Bedford would love for his stepdaughter, Lady Ella, and her child to be on the throne. He isn't looking out for you, your majesty. He's looking out for his own benefits.
Regardless of what you think, John, or what Lord Bedford thinks, I will fight to have this child put on the throne if it is a male. I will fight. I will fight the Pope. I will fight the church. I will fight whatever necessary. If this child is a boy, I'm going to make Lady Ella the Duchess of Somerset, one of the highest titles that a woman can hold in this kingdom, and she will hold it in her own right. So she will basically be like a queen.
As you wish, your majesty.
Now both of you leave me. I have made my decision, Your Majesty.
Majesty.
How terrible.